I've been waiting a while to make this video because I wanted to think very carefully about the advice that I'm about to give. Because right now, I'm condensing years of learning, trial and error, and tons of failures into a video that's only gonna be maybe 5 to 10 minutes long. And I wanna make sure the advice that I'm about to give you is actually actionable and is actually useful for your life. And I'm not just sending you in a wild goose chase. And now I have 3 pieces of advice for you in this video. 2 mindset changes and then 1 actionable step at the very end. And the first mindset change I want you to understand is that it is not abnormal to go start conversations with strangers or even ask out people that you don't know yet. A lot of people are convinced that it's so incredibly weird to go up to a new person, start a conversation with them, or see someone you find attractive, flirt with someone who you don't quite know yet. Especially with a lot of content that you'll see online, a lot of people will make these arbitrary rules such as you're not allowed to talk to anyone in the gym, they're just trying to get their workouts done. Or you're not allowed to talk to anybody at the supermarket because they're just trying to shop for their groceries. Or you're not allowed to talk to anyone new when walking down the street because they're just trying to get to where they're going. We set up a lot of random, arbitrary limitations for ourselves under the guise of not trying to come off weird or not trying to come off creepy. The problem with this is that if you're constantly trying to limit where you're allowed to meet new people, where you're allowed to have interactions with strangers, then you're gonna find that pretty much everywhere you go, you're coming up with an excuse to not talk to new people. And like I've said, a prime example of this is the gym. A lot of people believe it's super taboo or super frowned upon to go up and talk to a new person at the gym. Whether this be someone that you're just interested in being friends with, or someone that you find attractive and that you just want to go up to and see what happens. I can't even count the amount of times that I've been in the gym with a friend and they maybe said something like, wow, that girl over there is so pretty, I really want to talk to her. And I would maybe say, oh, why don't you? She's alone, go talk to her, just have a conversation. And they'd say something like, oh, I don't want to be creepy, like that would just be weird, I can't do that. We set these limitations for ourselves under the guise of not wanting to come off creepy, but the reality of the situation is that going up to new people, even someone you're attracted to, is a lot less creepy than you think. And a major problem is that the internet will have you think that this type of behavior is much more abnormal than it actually is. A lot of people nowadays are deathly afraid of coming off creepy, especially when they see all these viral videos such as, oh, you know what, this creepy dude was looking at me in the gym, or why is this guy coming up and talking to me? A lot of people will see videos like this and they're just deathly afraid of coming off as weird or coming off as creepy or having other people look at them and just think they're a weird person. So videos like this online will convince you that it's abnormal to go up and talk to new people, go up and flirt with new people. But the funniest thing is that in real life, it almost never pans out like this. I can say from personal experience of the girls that I've maybe asked out at the gym and the girls that I've gone dates with from a gym or maybe some other public setting, there really is no worst case scenario. You think to yourself, you know what, I'm gonna go talk to this new person and they're just gonna think I'm weird, they're gonna laugh at me, maybe they're gonna take a video of me like these videos I see online. But the problem with being chronically online is that you're always receiving this advice on, oh, you shouldn't socialize, oh, you shouldn't go talk to these new people. You're always receiving this advice from people who don't actually put any of this stuff into practice. The majority of these people who comment on videos like this and who post videos like this have never actually gone up to someone in their gym and just started a conversation, have never gone up, maybe while hiking and started a conversation with someone else on the trail. So you're setting social limitations for yourself based on the opinions of people who don't even go out and socialize. Remember, the real world is a lot more social than what you see on your phone. Many people will try to convince you that it's weird to go up to new people, it's weird to maybe say, go flirt with a girl that you think is pretty, that you don't quite know yet. A lot of people will convince you that it's odd to do this, but I promise that as long as you're not doing it in some really creepy way, even if someone's not particularly interested in being your friend, or even if someone's not particularly romantically interested in you, the interaction when you first go to reach out is at the very least gonna be positive. You're not gonna be shouted at, you're not gonna be laughed at like these videos you see online. People in real life are more social than what you see on your phone, and it's more acceptable than you think to go up to new people and start a conversation. And now my second piece of advice for overcoming your rejection anxiety is another mental shift. And it's essentially to realize that if someone rejects you, whether this be a new friend or someone you've gone on a couple dates with, regardless of the context, their rejection is not a rejection of you as a whole person. And what this means is that when you've just met someone, or say you've gone on a couple of dates with someone, if you get rejected eventually, it can feel very invalidating, like there's something fundamentally wrong with you, or that you're just not good enough as a person. And a lot of people are so scared of this rejection, they're so scared of what a rejection like this could mean about their own self-worth, that a lot of people just won't even go out of their way. They won't try to reach out to new people because they're just worried, oh, like if I ask this person out and they say no, it might mean there's something really wrong with me or that I'm just not a good person. But I want you to realize that when you get rejected, the person who rejected you is never rejecting you as a whole. They're rejecting a specific snapshot that they saw of you. And this shift can really be super, super helpful in just restoring your self-esteem after rejection. So say, for example, I go on a date and maybe I thought it went well, but I never get a call back. It's very tempting to think, oh, you know what? There's something wrong with me. I'm just weird. People don't like me. But if I reframe this into something like, I guess she did not like the 2-hour snapshot of Ethan that she saw. It allows you to take on rejections like this without generalizing to the rest of your life. If I go up to a girl that I found pretty and we talk for a couple minutes and I ask if I can get her phone number and she says no, I don't think to myself, oh, you know what, I'm so fundamentally messed up as a person. Nobody's attracted to me. I'll never attract people. Instead, you reframe it and I could think something like, oh, you know what, she didn't like the 2-minute snapshot of Ethan that she saw. So making sure that we're not globalizing these rejections, we're not generalizing them to every area of our life, but instead we're reminding ourselves that this new person, they've only known us for a little bit and there's more to us than their snapshot of what they saw of us. And I think this step is very helpful for people who tend to overthink. Because if you can remind yourself that rejection in the context of a new friend or a new romantic partner isn't an attack on your entire being, then you take these things a lot less personally and you feel more motivated to go out, facilitate more social interactions, and just be more comfortable putting yourself out there regardless of what the outcome is. And now finally, the best way to get over your fear of rejection, and this is gonna sound very counterintuitive, but the best way to get over your fear of rejection is to get rejected. And I know this might sound a little bit dumb, but bear with me. When you're, say, asking somebody out, nothing will ever be as frightening to you socially as asking someone out for the first time. And you know what's infinitely easier than doing that? Asking someone out for the second time. And you know what's infinitely easier than doing that? Asking someone out for the third time. Each time you get an experience like this under your belt and you realize, you know what, I put myself out there, I tried, and I didn't die. The entire school didn't turn and start pointing and laughing at me. The worst case scenario didn't actually happen. The more you get experiences like this and you realize that there's no imminent danger and that you're allowed to be a social person and put yourself out there, the more comfortable you become in these kinds of situations. In the same way that I've mentioned in some of my social skills videos, the best way to cultivate your social skills and improve your ability to talk to new people is just put yourself out there and just get experience desensitizing yourself to social interactions. It's very similar when it comes to your fear of rejection. If you are scared of rejection, what you have to do is put yourself out there more, not less, and just get a bunch of experiences under your belt where you're reaching out and either it goes well or you get rejected. And in a way, getting rejected can even be better for you sometimes. Because again, it reminds you that you're allowed to be rejected, another person is allowed to not choose you, and it doesn't mean anything catastrophic about yourself, and it doesn't mean you're in any danger. It just happened, and it's something that you can reflect on and then move past. But now actionably, how do we actually set ourselves up for more rejection and being less afraid of rejection? I'll give you 2 potential ways to do this. One is fairly easy, and one is gonna be very, very difficult. And it's up to you which one you wanna try to do. So the first way to expose yourself to rejection more is just to go and start more random conversations with strangers. So despite the incredibly, incredibly low stakes, whenever you go up and talk to someone new, you are technically risking the chance of rejection or that they just don't reciprocate your energy. So say you're walking down the street and you see someone and you just wanna say, good morning. There's always that slight chance they might just not reciprocate your energy, either just give you a weird look or you kind of just keep walking. And despite the fact that we might not really take this as rejection, it's again, just getting us experience, talking to new people, putting ourselves out there, and maybe very worst case scenario, having a slightly awkward social interaction. So starting conversations with people walking down the street, maybe starting a conversation with someone in your class or someone at your job who you don't normally talk to, all of these are getting us experience, risking rejection, but not in a very high stakes way. And the best part about an exposure activity like this is that we can gradually increase the difficulty of it. So you could start with something as simple as just saying good morning to random people and seeing if you get a response. If not, oh no, you've been rejected, but it doesn't really matter. You can go from that to more difficult social situations that right now you view as higher stakes or sort of more anxiety inducing, and keep pushing yourself in interactions like this until you get better and better and start thinking about rejection less and less. And now the second way you can desensitize yourself to rejection that I mentioned is the much, much harder version, is something that me and my friend termed rejection therapy. And this rejection therapy came about when me and one of my friends were having a discussion about dating back in college. I was looking to get out there more myself, and she was tired of the dating apps. She wanted to meet guys in real life and just have more genuine social connections. And it occurred to us that if we were constantly anxious to put ourselves out there and go talk to new people, then dating was just gonna be a whole lot more difficult for us. So we coined this term rejection therapy, which essentially means wherever you are, say you're in a social situation, or in our context, maybe we were just at the library studying. If you see someone who you find very attractive and that you want to talk to, you go up to them and start a conversation with them with the understanding that you're either going to get this person's number and something will come of it, or you're going to get rejected, and it's going to make the next time you get rejected that much easier because you've gotten practice with rejection itself. You've had that experience that someone was just uninterested and they politely said no to you, and you took that, didn't internalize it, and you became more comfortable with just being rejected. And the best thing about this is that it almost gamified social interactions. So instead of seeing someone really attractive and thinking, oh, you know what, like I'm such a coward, this is gonna be so stressful, I don't know if I should go talk to them or not, you would think to yourself, you know what, I'm either gonna get this person's number or I'm gonna get rejected and it'll be a learning experience. And me and her found that when we implemented this strategy and treated it almost like a game, we were both getting much more dates, and we were both just having more fun when it came to reaching out to new people and just being more social and extroverted. And again, I understand that this essentially is, jumping right into the deep end, because if you have a fear of rejection, then the thought of just being rejected by a bunch of people and using it as almost a game, it might sound a little bit extreme, but as you start getting out there more and socializing and just exposing yourself to rejection, I recommend that you try rejection therapy, because not only can it be fun, but I believe it truly is the fast track to just getting over your fear of rejection forever. So the gist of this point, if you can desensitize yourself to rejection by putting yourself out there and intentionally getting rejected, your fear will diminish rapidly, and social interactions like this will feel more and more normal to you. Now, to review what we've talked about, if you want to overcome your fear of rejection, there's 3 main things that you have to do. The first is to understand that social interactions with new people, whether this be in a friendly way or a romantic way, is never as weird as you think. The internet tries to convince you that it's very weird to, say, ask someone out in a social setting or go up and start conversations with strangers, but you're getting this advice from people who actively do not try to be social and are honestly too afraid in the first place to put this advice into use. Don't let these people pull you down, and remember that people in real life are much more social than what you see on the internet, and that looking for new, genuine connections does not make you creepy. Second, remember that rejection does not mean that your entire being has been rejected. If you go on a date with someone and they're not interested, it means they rejected a 2-3 hour snapshot of you. It doesn't mean they rejected you as a person. Maybe it was an off day for them. Maybe there was something in those couple hours that they just didn't rock with. But the ability to face rejection and not generalize it as something wrong with you as a whole is super important. And third, the actionable step. If you want to become more comfortable with rejection, you have to put yourself in more situations where you might get rejected. And in a more easy sense, this could mean just starting new conversations with random people. And in a more difficult way, this could be something like rejection therapy, where you're actively pushing yourself to go start interactions with people you find attractive, and you're using rejection as a learning experience and an opportunity to grow. Now, I really hope you can find this advice useful, and that it can make the process of socializing with new people and even dating just a little bit less anxiety-inducing. Now, as always, I really appreciate you watching. If you like videos like this, I really recommend you subscribe. There's going to be a whole lot more soon. But until then, I'll see you guys.